teach you. I want to hear Brother teach. I want to take some notes myself. So please receive Brother Robert Brock. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. All right, now I'm going to start off with a unity series. Now, we have to be in unity. What the white man did to us put us in unity. Somebody said we need to unite. We're already united on what he did to us. Just doing something about it. First of all, each one of us was taken into captivity. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, we're united on that, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, all of us had to come by the middle passage. Is that right?
That's right.
So we're united on that. So now everybody here is united on these two things. So now, chattel slaves selling us like animals. We're united on that, aren't we? We're descended from that. Condition of slaves. We're united on that.
Yes, sir.
Work without pay. Got to get to. We're all united on this. So where's the disunity? All right. Constitution and slavery. Before the night's over, I'll show you some of those provisions on slavery. 13th and 14th Amendment was for all of us. That's unity. And civil rights legislation is for us. Now, this is all that I'm going to use to unite us on. And you didn't cause this. So you're united by him doing this to us. Is that right? It's the same thing that happened to all of us. Let's just use this here for our unity. And nothing else. If you use this, all blacks can be united. See what I'm trying to say? What he did to us is what we're going to unite on. And that's what, if you unite it, if you want to fight him, you want to fight him about what he did to you. If you created something in the last, since chattel slavery, that's your creation. You're going to be hard to get somebody to unite with on your creation. You understand? But it shouldn't be hard to get nobody to unite on these things here. That's all I deal with from captivity to civil rights. And I don't get nobody disunited with what I'm saying. This is what happened to us. You see what I'm trying to say? Anything else that you got going is because that's your creation. So nobody's going to unite with you 100% on it. Because somebody else got another creation. Everybody got a creation. But this here, you didn't cause it. This here's what hurt us. So I don't have to ask you to unite. You're already part of it. Now, do you understand what I'm saying? Let's use this for unity. You see what I mean? That's where you wrap up everybody in. Is there any question about unity now? Now, everybody in here is under this. So I don't have to ask for your unity. It's going to ask you what you're going to do about it. So I don't want nothing else you got to offer on uniting. Let's go get some business. Let's go put up a store. That's individual creation. We need it, though. But this here, we know is you didn't cause none of this. And you've been fighting to do something all your life, haven't you? Trying to get out of something. Well, this is what you've been fighting right here. Because everything else, this is where it started with captivity. No, one more. I didn't put it up there. It started with W-A-R, a war. War was first. I didn't put it up here. You cannot take a man or an animal in captivity unless you what? Do something to him first. So war is the first act. War. And what kind of war is that? It's a war of enslavement. You got to know what kind of a war it was. Not every wars are different. The reason why we have to call it a war of enslavement is because in the war to capture a person means it's for slavery. It's a different kind of a war. You can kill a person if it's a war of enslavement. If it's not a war of enslavement, you have to what? Follow rules of law. Rules of war. You understand? See, and you have to take a person a prisoner. Let me see if I can get this straight. In a war, you have 5 or 6 kinds of a war. We're going to deal with 2 of them kinds. First, you got the war where you capture resources, land, harbors, goods, and service. Somebody broke a treaty, or somebody shot somebody. So you went to redress that. That's just a war for resources, we call it. Now, the war is not against the person, the war is against the object, to get the land back. So, the soldier, when he's captured as a prisoner of that war, He's free after what? It's over. A prisoner of war does not lose his civil rights or his rights. They're only suspended during what? The war. And if you give back the land or give back the ship, then the prisoner goes free. That's war, a regular war for resources. But a war of enslavement is when you capture the person. And what's left besides you? You think all of it, well, you are all of it. And when they capture you, they got everything in the world. Nothing else is left. So a war of enslavement is where you take the person and he's an object that you're going to scorn and kill. See, where the prisoner was not, it was the goods, the gold. See? So therefore, when you capture a person for a slave, you can kill him. You understand that? You got to understand what we're talking about here, why the white man's always killing us. It's a war of enslavement. To the extent that if you don't submit, I'll kill you. But you don't do the prisoners of war that. Understand this. You have to kill the white man because he's going to kill you. So now you know what kind of war you're in. You have to kill the white man and the white woman. You have to kill them. Because that's what he does to you. Because you are a slave. And you're thinking that you're just a prisoner of war. You cannot be, slaves are never prisoners of war. Only free people are prisoners of war. A slave is a captive. That's the correct term for a slave. It's a captive. Prisoner of war is free. A captive, you go and catch a rabbit. You put a pistol on a rabbit, he's still going to run, isn't he? You put a pistol on a slave, he's going to run too if you know what's going to happen to him. You have to do what? Capture him. You see what I mean? Prisoner of war, you can put a gun on him. Everybody in this room, one pistol, make everybody sit down, won't it? See? That's like a prisoner. So we are in captivity and not in prison. And when you're in captivity, you lock a person up, you beat him up, you chain him, you dehumanize him, and you kill him when you get ready. The same as you do an animal. Now understand what kind of war this is. It's a war where you kill him and he kills you. Understand that. Now the white man knows that he's supposed to kill you and beat you up, treat you bad. And he does that, doesn't he? Because he knows that you are captive and slave. And you think that you are a prisoner of war. You are a captive just like a rabbit or another animal. And you can be killed. You don't need killers? Look at all the death they have all the time. So now from now on, you're supposed to kill the white man and white woman according to your status of captivity and the war that was created in Africa. Somebody come up into your house or wherever you're in Africa and you said, take the gold. He said, I don't want the gold, I want you and your woman. I can take her to America and breed and sell her kids and take you that away. And if you don't submit, I'll kill you. The end object is to kill you or submit. You understand? See, that's what I'm trying to tell you now? So you're supposed to kill him anytime you can. The fact that you're not now trying to kill him this very day is because something happened in between our brain power, mental slavery. You understand? But ain't nothing happening to his brain because he's killing us. You understand? The Lord didn't stop him. We shall overcome, and Martin Luther King didn't stop him. Well, now, wait, let me tell you. Wait a minute, I ain't here. Wait a minute. Let's deal with what I'm talking about. Now, I ain't gonna. Let me see here. Let me lecture here, because I don't want to cause no problems. I want to get down to what I'm talking about. See? You see? All right. So now, captivity. War is first. Second was captivity. We haven't been made a slave yet. Then they transported us from Africa to the United States. But here's where you say that. They captured us and transported us away from African nationality. They transported you from Africa, don't tell who you were. They transported you away from Africa. You're a national of Africa. Now, you can't be a national of Africa and a national of the United States now. You got to be a national of everybody's a national of some country. You never gave up your nationality. He knows that you're a national of Africa. You're the one that say you're a national of the United States. He never said it. He never said it. You see what I'm trying to say? Yeah, see? Just like the Emancipation Proclamation. President Lincoln freed slaves. He didn't free colored folks, black folks, African, or Negroes. He said he freed slaves. And if you notice, that's what's still the law, slaves. This word Negro colored they use comes from you. Go find where the government ever called you anything but a slave in their records. Find it. You go to civil rights law because, wait a minute, right now they're using Afro-American instead of black, aren't they? Because we said Afro-American. The government never said it. Go find where the government said you an Afro-American. Go find where they said you a Negro or you colored. Only thing that Lincoln said was he was freeing slaves. And that's the name you have to this day in the government record, slave. You understand that? Now you can call yourself anything you want. And when the man comes to take his census, he don't care what you call yourself, a barebone, he'll put that down if he will. That's not name, that's a call word. You understand? So, captivity came first. Middle Passage brought us over here. Now here's what took place when they brought us over here so they can come down to my tax lecture, you'll see it. We was in a jurisdiction. Jurisdiction means where I run the show. Like your house, that's your jurisdiction. You control from back door to the front door. That's your jurisdiction. And this government controls the country, wherever they have it. This country, they control. That's a jury. Jury means law. Jurisdiction means the whole set. Now, Africa has a jurisdiction. All of Africa is an African or black jurisdiction. That's where Africans have their citizenship, their worship, their nature, marriage laws, and everything. That's their jurisdiction. So as an African national, you was transported. Now watch this. Once you was 3 miles, I think it's 3 miles out of the, and you're in the ocean then, aren't you? Once blacks was 3 miles out of Africa, they went into, it was in the ocean. The ocean is not owned by nobody. It's owned by international law. Once you was 3 miles out of Africa, you was in what? International law. Then you was brought into another man's jurisdiction without a passport. Where's your passport? Right into the United States without a passport into another man's jurisdiction. That's still international law. Now, how did you get under the Constitution then? Have any of you ever went there, your parents ever went there and swore for the Constitution? Most people come to this country, go there to the federal judge and put their hand up, don't they? And what did he say? Do he want to go abide by the Constitution? Doesn't he say that? And guess what? And the man offers him a Constitution. You never have been offered a Constitution. Going to the library is not an offer of the Constitution. You just read it. You write on toilet paper, you still read it. You understand what I'm saying? You have never been offered this Constitution. Now your parents been offered this Constitution. All you did was went to the library and read it. That's all. Well, where is it where you become a party to it, a contract, a relation? Now, when the judge gets up there and say to this foreigner coming in here, after he's here 5 years, do you want to become a part of this government? He says, yes. You subscribe to the Constitution? Yes. Well, okay then, if you do that, we will defend you, and you defend us, you pay taxes, become a citizen, and we'll all live together. Then he subscribed to the Constitution, and the government let him subscribe to it. Then he's a part of the Constitution because he agreed to be a part of it. And the government represents the United States, he represents himself, a mutual agreement. That man has the Constitution. Have you ever had that Constitution? No. You have never had the Constitution since you've been here. You just read it. You understand that? See, if any of your people ever took out the Constitution, so how are you under it? Where's your proof? Just living here don't prove it. You got the Indians on the reservation. They never took it out, but they on the reservation though. They don't have to worry about it. You just think you're under it, you say. All right, so you're never under it. So it's not binding on you. You say it's binding on you. You see what I'm trying to say? Where's the proof that it's binding on you? Yeah, where is it? You grant people out of slavery. See what I'm trying to say? All right, now all this counts when we come to this taxation now. Oh, now we're middle passage. Now we end. Then we come from war, captivity, middle passage, bring us over water. That's international jurisdiction. Now, this is very important international law. How did we get under domestic law with the United States Constitution? You see what I'm trying to say? We never have. So therefore, when they try to enforce it, when we come to this tax law, you'll understand that. You see, now, then we were made slaves, chattel slaves. Let's deal with slavery. When they brought us here from Africa, put this down in your paper, we were physical slaves. That's first slavery. Physical slaves. He put us on this block and sold us. That became what? A chattel slave. Piece of property. That's two kinds of slavery. Physical slave first. When he began to sell us, we became what? Chattels, didn't we? All right, now, after being here for 300 years, I wrote this one down. I'm going to be sure I had this one right. For 300 years, we what? Then we, after being here for 300 years, we were then like in an incubator, you know? An environment, that's the word, environment. What happened? We developed a third kind of slavery, which is called mental slavery. That's three. You got that one? Mental slavery. Mental slavery. Now, another one. Now, slavery, chattel slavery ended December the 18th, 1865, when they passed the 13th Amendment. That was December the 18th. Well, on December the 19th, the very next day, we were doing what? The same thing we was doing December the 18th. So that's what you call automatically carrying on slavery. So put down automatic slavery. Even to this very date, you still carrying on automatic slavery. And that's four kinds of slavery right there. See? It's one more, which we call dehumanization. That's a bad one. I don't even mention that tonight. Don't lose everybody here tonight. That's a bad one. And that's five. It's six altogether, but it's five. Well, one more I'm going to tell you about. Now, how many we got? Four? Well, no, wait a minute. Leave off the last one, dehumanization. Make number five another. You got the house. No, that's the house Negro. Oh, you got five kind of slaves. Okay. Now let's go back to this other one here while we're on it. You have the Negroes. I'm diverting a little bit here now. You have the field Negro, you have the yard Negro, and you have the house Negro. Wait a minute, and you have the crazy nigger. It's four. It's four. It's actually five, but it's four. It's the crazy Negro. When you stand up and fight, they call you crazy. Because he's not going to say you're brave. I mean, that's a real Negro. That's for real in American society. The white man has branded everybody, like the Midwest Negro, the Texas nigger too. You see what I'm trying to say? He identified all of us. He knows our traits because he made them. You have the field Negro, the house Negro, the yard Negro, and the crazy nigger. Those are the four kind of Negroes. It's four, not just three, it's four. See? Now, what I want you to understand is that these are real Negroes in the black race. That's right. See, that's what it's a. You ever seen a man that made another man out of a man? Yes, these are real people. It's not a name calling. A house Negro is altogether different from a field Negro. For real. Right. It's not a joke. Right. It's a problem. It's fiendish. It's ghoulish. You can never unite in a race when you got three races in one. We don't look at that. He does. Because he made us that way. Think about that from what I'm saying. Think about that you have a black man here and a black woman from Africa. They know themselves. They know what nature is and what they are. Then all of a sudden somebody comes in, takes one of them, takes them off, and make him into something else. Brings him back among you, you don't know it. Now that's for real I'm talking about. Let's not look at these three different Negroes as just something that we make a joke out of. Look at it as something that's real bad and destructive to our ends. Think about what I just told you. It's a monster. It's a ghoul. It's fiendish. It is another person in the house. 3 different persons in one race. Real persons. Real differences. And you never can unite. Because he created that. And think about what I said, okay? All right. Then when the man does stand up with you, he throw you off and say you're crazy. And everybody says what? Laugh and won't help you. He worked it out pretty good. You see what I'm trying to say? You see? All right, so I just wait that a little bit to get back. So anyway, we're in the United States, and we're in international law. If you never subscribe to the Constitution, then you're not under man's law. If you are, let us know here now. You see what I mean? All right, now, so we're all united on all of these here because you didn't create none of this, did you? How about from now on, let's just use these 8 to unite on. You see what I'm trying to say? Anything else you can get people to unite on. But these here, they cannot deny this, can they? Well, let's deal with what these are problems. These problems led to the other problems. So let's just unite on these problems that he caused. Nobody can, deny that. And we got unity, okay? Now, we got the condition of slave, work without pay, the Constitution of slavery. All right, now, 13th, 14th Amendment. I'm going to try to get down to my tax case without going through it lots today. All right, now, I don't know where to start at here because good audience here tonight. I like this audience. Very attentive. So I'm going to try to give you. Let me start at the beginning. That way you have the whole foundation of it. To begin with, where did the problem begin? Our problem began in Europe in the minds of white people. See, it didn't begin in Africa. It began in the minds of white people in Europe. All right? Now, that mind, a mind is say a mental or spiritual. It can be evil or good. An action proves whether it's evil or good. See? All right, now, but then it was bad from what you say. All right, so he is a devil, then, isn't he? All right, now, so what do we have here? We have here, with that mind, what did he agree to do? He agreed. Was the African chief standing up with him? Selling each other? No. Just only white folks, wasn't it? So the African chief wasn't there to sell nobody, was he? All right, then. So, okay, now. Then, so he agreed that he's going to go to Africa and capture black folks. Is that right? All right. But what this first act he did was agreement in Europe as the principle. Because we're going to stop this African sold each other mess, but this is what I'm telling you tonight. See, he was a principle, and not an agent. He's a principle. One. On his own, he agreed to go to Africa. And he didn't agree to go there and what? Not capture the chief. You understand what I just said? He agreed to go for anybody that's black. All right, now, that's the first thing. Is an agreement in Europe. Second, he went to Africa, and the first thing he did when he went to Africa was what? He invaded Africa. Don't never say he went to Africa no more. Birds go to Africa. Fish go to Africa. He invaded Africa. Say invade from now on. To invade means to come ashore into my house or my land without my permission. That gives you a portray what he really did, doesn't it? He invaded Africa. Shot people, knocked doors down. Just did everything wrong without my permission. Somebody come in your bedroom tonight at 12:30. Well, 1 o'clock is all right too. You see what I mean? That's invading. Isn't that really invading? Now you got some idea about it? Huh? See? I want both of you to get out the bed and go to my slave. Oh my God, look at that, will you? You sleeping good. Just to show you some idea of it. So he invaded Africa. Say invade. All right, now, then, after invasion, the first thing he did after invasion was war. Now, what kind of a war? Let me add to it. It was a war of enslavement, but also he had an undeclared war of enslavement. These are very tedious times. Undeclared war of enslavement. I just like just hitting you and, run up on your street hitting you over the head. The reason we say undeclared, so you can hit him at any time from then till now. Wait a minute, let me see if what I'm saying, if it's an undeclared war of enslavement, at any time that you want to kill him, you can.
Yes, sir.
That's why we got to identify these terms. At any time, now at any time. See? All right, you ever seen two soldiers go to jail for committing a crime, for killing each other? No. War, you can't, there's never murder in a war. Kill 100 soldiers, and nobody go to jail for killing each other. As soon as the war's over, everybody go to jail over when the war's over. You see? So why? A war eliminates everything. Whoever wins the victory. So you can kill him at any time if you still think the war's going on. It is going on, isn't it? Yes, sir. All right. Now, you see what I'm trying to say? And then it's an undeclared war, which means that he's in violation. He's the aggressor. He caused the problem. You can always hit somebody when he hits you first. That's universal law of compensation or self-defense. Okay, now, so we got the second act. Now, the first act was invasion of Africa. Second act was an undeclared war of enslavement. Third act was, so I want to get it right. In Africa, this happened. He took your freedom and self-determination. You lost it right there in Africa when you lost your freedom. When he said, halt! The moment you stop, you've been enslaved to this very moment, haven't you? Huh? That's right. The moment you did that, you've been in slavery. You lost your freedom and self-determination. Then you were bound. Remember this. Before you can capture a rabbit or a slave, you must capture and seize him. You have to put a rope, you have to seize an animal, don't you? He's going to run. A slave going to run too. You ever see this yoke they put on the slave? Chain, that's what you call seizing, S-C-I-Z-E. You have to seize a slave. So we were captured and seized. A soldier's only captured. Understand these little subtle differences. And then when they take the yoke off of your hand, they put it on your what? Your mind. A slave must always have two things. He must always be seized and getting his butt kicked every day. A slave cannot be a slave unless somebody treating him bad. You cannot be treated good and be a slave. You got to be used like a tool and a fool to be a slave. There's no such thing as good slavery. And all slavery bad, isn't it? All slavery is bad. You see? Now, so we were captured in an undeclared war of enslavement and seized, yoked, transported away from our sovereign. Let me say, black man especially, let's start thinking in terms of something we lost. We were somebody at one time and still is for that go. What I'm saying, think in terms, I used to have African citizenship. I used to have an African country. I used to be in charge of something. You know what I mean? Where is it? We've been here so long, haven't we? We done lost everything. This thing, we done lost that sovereignty, that supremacy in us. We done lost that. Most of us anyway. If you could just think what you lost, maybe you'd fight a little bit more. You see? Try to remember, what did you lose in Africa? What did you lose in the time that man got our ancestors? Try to think about that so you can try to regain it. It's hard to do. It's been so long, hasn't it? We've been through so much. We're lucky to be alive. Okay, so, but anyway, start thinking along them lines. So we lost that in Africa, captured and seized. We lost sovereignty. Sovereignty means where I say so and what I say what it is. And nobody else can dispute it. That's what we lost. We lost that. All right, now. So we lost something else too. Let me say about slavery. This is the way you're supposed to put that. The black woman and her children are enslaved. You know, you're supposed to mention the black man. You know, such things as black. I don't mean Muslims are black men. I'm talking about something else. You're all men, physical. I'm talking about a culture man. This is the way I put it in my cases in court. The black woman and her children are enslaved. That's the correct definition. You know, you can put the man down. Ain't no such thing. I don't mean that you're not a man now. You are a man. You're a physical man. The black woman and her children are enslaved. That's what happened. Because it's like y'all have heard the $64 question, haven't you? All right. If what happened is that like Hitler said, if you give me the first three generations, somebody else said it. When the black man and woman was brought here, they were both equal, weren't they? In nature and God, you know, they knew whom they were and everything. The first generation was an African generation, knew their language, culture, nature, God, and they were sovereign. Then a child was born. That child was slave born. That's right. Slave birth in slavery. Born in slavery. He wasn't captured no more. He was born. Now, so that was the first generation, which is 21 years and a few months. Then, the second generation was born from a slave that was born in slavery, isn't it? Now you're losing what? Your roots, aren't you? Through birth in slavery. So you got to collect reparation for being born in slavery. Too, don't forget that. I want you to think of it as being bad that you was born in slavery. You descended from somebody born in slavery. Don't accept it just like it's a natural thing. It's not natural to be born in slavery. Think of your birth as being bad. You understand? See, all right, now. So then the third generation, which is 42 years, third generation, which is 3 times 21, would be about 64, wouldn't it? Now you got a slave born from a slave that was born from a slave that was born from a slave. You see what I'm trying to say? All right, so now you got everybody born in slavery and then carried us on for 300 years. Nothing but mental slavery. Nothing but that, you see? Now, so what do we get here? What happened then? The woman gives birth to the child. So everybody that comes along after the 64 years is a girl and a boy. And no such thing as a black man no more. Could it be? Could it? You see what I'm trying to say? Yes, couldn't be no. All you got left is a woman and her what? Children. And when the white man calls you a boy, that's exactly what he means, what you are. He gets ready to go and rape a black woman, and here he got 2 black slaves when she refuses to admit, holding her legs over where he can get between them. If that ain't a boy and an animal, you tell me what is. You see what I mean now? See what I mean? That ain't no man, that's a boy. That's what I mean. If you physical, you ain't even talking about physical, you're talking about a culture man. A man that stands up. You see what I'm trying to say? All right, so the black man was lost, and he's trying to regain his manhood now, and that's good. Black Muslim especially. Let's move on. All right, now. Okay. So, anyway, we found that. So, let me get back to my lecture. I just divert once in a while. Now, so we got here, condition of slave, the condition of the slave. Well, we need to deal more with the condition of the slave. So the brother here tonight, before I leave here, he's got a study group. Is that right, brother? Yes, sir. That invited me. All right, now, I brought a bibliography with me tonight that I'm going to give to him that has to do with the condition of the slave, slavery, and all of that. We have some culture nationalists going around wearing dashikis 24 hours a day. We got to stop that. We've got to start dealing with our enslavement. The biggest culture we have is a slave culture. Nobody even talks about it. How can you collect reparations unless you tell what happened to you? What are you going to tell them? You collect reparations for having what? A slave name? Looking through the audits here, you got all kinds of spotted bastards in here, including me too. You got to collect reparations for that name, your sisters and brothers. You see what I mean? Everybody got all kind of names. You need reparations for that, don't you? You see what I mean? You got to tell what happened to you. This ain't something that happened long time ago. Slavery is now.
That's right.
So we got to start having little Instead of wearing dashikis and telling about the great kings of Africa, let's get the king's son from getting his butt kicked every day. You see what I mean? All right? See? You know, I kind of thought something was wrong. When I went to some meetings some time ago down in Long Beach, I walked in there. You know, in the 60s, you know, and before the 60s, everywhere you went, a woman always had a man with her, a brother with her. It's some man, you know what I mean? Or she was married. No such thing as a straight woman out there by herself. Especially no black meeting. I don't know what happened. They get singled out, but then they were all married just about. And you go to the meeting, you see mostly men at the meeting. So I goes down to this culture meeting, and I goes in, and I'm kicked back, them sisters all dressed up, and I knew something was wrong. You just don't see the women at these meetings. I used to didn't see them. And then I began to see what it was. They made this meetings a laid-back situation in which there's no threat. Talking about what? The great kings of Africa, the pharaohs, and what we used to do. That's no threat to nobody. That's right. But this here is. You understand? Yes, sir. See? That's what I began to notice, you see? So let's just get those brothers off of that old safe, religious type of meeting where they all laid back. Right. You see what I mean? And the brother told me in Washington the other day, he said, yeah, we talk about certain things, but some things we don't, especially if it's political. Political is where you make what you say happen. Right. If you talk about the great kings, what are you going to do politically and what? Correct it. They just teach culture all day. The heck with that. You see what I mean? See, anything that you teach that he don't like is what you have to teach. You see what I'm trying to say? You see? Now, look at this Jew, what he's trying to do to Minister Farrakhan. He's trying to mainstream him. Mainstream to make him acceptable. Look what they did to Stokely Carmichael with Black Power. Boy, look how they mainstreamed the man. Malcolm X is a dead man, and they put a movie out about him and mainstream a dead man. You can wear an X and it don't mean too much. He's been mainstreamed, he's been accepted where the white folks says, so I go see Malcolm X too. You don't want that. It has to be something said that he don't like. Even killing him and shooting at him. You understand what I'm saying? Don't let nobody mainstream Brother Farrakhan, because this Jew the one put out the remember this, all this publicity came from them, not from the final call. Now if he ain't careful, he's gonna get mainstream. You understand that now? He's going to be accepted unless somebody fight. You understand? I don't care what said. It's off of what? Woods, no substance. Be careful of mainstreaming. You understand that now? Yes, this devil is up to something, isn't he? Yes, he's up to something. What he did, we finally found out when Carmichael come, we know that something was wrong. All of a sudden, overnight, Carmichael used to be in an integration situation, didn't he? And all of a sudden, the Jew comes out with black power. Then we found out it was too late that he had clipped black nationalism with black power. We don't know what he's up to now. But we're going to lose something in this battle unless we get out there and do something. I'm telling you now, all this publicity over words, no action at all. Be careful. Don't get mainstream and get on with your way. I wish Mr. Muhammad was alive so he could have this, wouldn't he? He would take care of this mess this Jew is doing. I think he wouldn't have anything to do with it. Wouldn't even answer him. You see what I mean? Wouldn't go on no TV to apologize or say anything. Just keep on calling him a devil and keep on teaching the brothers. See? Yeah, I think that's what he'd have done. Anyway, let me get on with my lecture here. I'm going to stop debating and get on with the lecture. Now, so let's get on here. Let's get the Constitution out, brothers. Yeah. Okay, we're going to get here to this one here. Number 6, Constitution and Slavery. All right, everybody take a Constitution. All right, everybody take a Constitution. Now, This is the Constitution that the man used, that you see capital letters in the middle of the sentence, which is written in the King's English, not just common English. This is the real Constitution, all right, in this book here. Now, all right, now, first we've shown, first captivity, middle passage, no chiefs were there. Remember, this is all the white man's thing all the way down, isn't it? Now, if he engaged in selling whiskey, oh, here, in the selling of the whiskey in Africa, the white man diluted his whiskey while the chiefs got drunk. That's a trick. Don't you never drink with nobody that drink the same thing you drink. You're drinking buddies, you drink like buddies. See? Only the woman dilutes her so she can trip you. But other than that, everybody drink the same. If they're going to drink with your buddies, drink with your buddies. What you looking at so serious for, sister? All right, now, you understand what I'm saying? All right. See, that's what he did to the chief. But anyway, here the chiefs wasn't here, selling each other wasn't here and here. What the white man has done, he created the whole thing, didn't he? And if he created a situation where he brought the rum, the whiskey, he got tribes fighting each other, that's all his creation. Don't let him make you part of it. Because he would capture what? The chiefs too. There's one black there was involved called Ben Johnson. Old Ben got captured. See? In the end, the chief went out to the ship to get his money. He got captured, you see? So it wasn't no contract that the chief wasn't going to get captured. So there's no such thing as equality of what? Captivity. So let's leave them chiefs alone by selling each other. That's what, you see? That's his line. All right, now, we're here with the Constitution and slavery. All right, now, let's go to the Constitution we're talking about is on page 32. Page 32. All right. Somebody read We the People, the preamble. Somebody read that, please. Anybody.
We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defiance, promote and general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves.
Who is ourselves? White folks. All right, now remember this. In the beginning of the Constitution, it says ourselves. It says selves. That's white people. Race is in the Constitution. You see it there? All right, go ahead. Who's the posterity, the capital P? Who's the posterity? Who's the posterity? His children. Posterity means ourselves is the people that's drawing it up, and our what? Children. Which means white people. Go ahead.
And do ordain and establish the Constitution for the
wait a minute. It didn't say of the United States. It says for the who?
United States.
Of what?
America.
It didn't say United States, did it? It said United States of America. Now, it's no Constitution for the United States. It's only a Constitution for the United States of America. You understand that? All right, now turn over here to the 14th Amendment, where they made us citizens, on page where? Oh, wait a minute, 40, 50, wait a minute now. Yeah, on page 53. It says Article 14, Section 1. You see that on the bottom of page 53? Remember, this is the Constitution we just read, is the Constitution of the United States of America, didn't we? It didn't say United States, did it? It's the United States of America. Didn't you read that? Yes, sir. That's what it says. Now, over here in the 14th Amendment, blacks were made citizens under the 14th Amendment. Is that right? All right, now, read that, Section 1, somebody. Please.
All persons born or naturalized in the United States.
You see that now? Go ahead.
And subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States.
Now, wait a minute. See what I'm trying to say now? Citizens of the United States. Where is the United States? You see what I'm trying to say? You got to watch these tricky words here, see? There's no Constitution for the United States. You understand? You see what I'm trying to say? See, we've been made citizens of a paper thing. It don't exist. It don't exist. You understand? It's right there. Okay, come back over here again on page 32. Now let's go back and find this Constitution here and let's deal with it. Or let's find these, what we say here, Constitution and slavery. All right, let's start with the Constitution and slavery. We're going to go to the first slave clause, which is, look up Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1. Find it. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1. What page is it on, somebody? Page 38, at the bottom. All right, that's a slave clause. Section 9, it says migration and importation of such persons. What such persons? Don't you have a name? Don't you have a nationality? Don't you have a race? Now, who in the world is such persons? Remember, about a year ago, Perot said in the NACP, you people? Well, that is right there, such people. That's where it come from. He was right. Wanted to go correct what he was. You see what I'm trying to say? You got that now? So that's a slave clause. Article 1, that's Section 9. Okay? Look what they said there. Somebody read that. Quickly, somebody read that. But somebody else read that. Anybody?
The migration or importation.
Importation means just like cattle, lumber, dogs, sheep, and Negroes. Go ahead.
Of such persons.
Such persons. Such means what? Such means that I have to say who it is. A third, say the French come up and say, the French come over here and want to be a citizen. He said, wait a minute, who are these such persons? The white man said, go down and look over the track and you see such persons. Somebody has to tell somebody who the such persons are because they don't speak for themselves. You understand that now? Such persons. No name, no nationality, no nation, no nothing. Just old plain such persons. Anything we want to call them. Go ahead. Finish, brother.
Of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit.
Wait a minute. They could import and enslave as many of us as they thought was proper. No limit on captain slaves. Go ahead.
Shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808.
Wait just a minute. Now, here's an important question here now. Congress is supposed to be running the country. Is that right? Well, who is telling Congress that they prohibit Congress from stopping slavery? Who was that? Who did that? No, I'm talking about they drew it up. There you go. The white people told and adopted this Constitution and set up the Congress, said, I'm setting you up, United States Congress, and you cannot stop slavery. Congress didn't have no power to stop it before 1808. So that makes white people responsible. It's right there. Congress couldn't even stop slavery. You see it there? Now, who told Congress they couldn't stop it? The people, as he said, that adopted the Constitution, which was all of the white people. So they are responsible. Huh?
Why did they choose 1808?
Well, just like 1808 is 20 years of slavery is enough. 1808 is enough because, see, what's happened, too many slaves have caused a security problem. See? It's like some colonists had 50,000 slaves and only 10,000 white people. But the slave didn't know he outnumbered the master. See? We got 4 or 5 states now where they outnumber the whites, but they ain't going to tell you all together, you see.
What states are they?
Well, I got them here. Mississippi is one of them. The 5 states down there. South Carolina is another one. Georgia is another one. And a couple of others. Where they outnumber whites. You see? We have Mississippi, see? You have 5 of them where they outnumber whites, but they always got it, what, 10%. All right, now. So the same thing here, that's why they didn't want them, see? Read on, brother, read on.
But a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation.
Such? Who is such? That's us. They're going to put a tax or a duty. Remember this, a duty is just like somebody bring in cigarettes, and that's a duty tax on cigarettes or guns, fishing tackle, or whatever you bring in. Here's a duty and a tax on the person. Go ahead.
Not exceeding $10.
$10. $10 back in 1808 was in gold. No paper money then. That was a lot of money. That's the biggest tax the United States had. $10, man. That was just think about a pure gold piece then. Okay, go ahead.
Not exceeding $10 for each person.
Now we go again, each and such, you people. See that I mean? Where's our name? You people, such person. Y'all. See? That's right, that's it, it's right there. That's where these words come from. He got them in his Constitution. And you get mad at him when he calls you a boy. Well, you should be dealing with why he called you a boy.
That's right.
You see? He likes for you to get mad because he called him a boy. That means you ain't got to the real substance. See? Oh, that happens. You see? Thank you. All right, now, that's slave. You got that slave clause? Article 1, Section 9. Let's go to another one. Article 4, Section 4. Turn on over further. 2 or 3 pages over. Article 4, Section 4. What do you find on page 46? Well, Article 4, wait a minute. Go ahead. Thank you, brother. Just sit right there. Okay, right there. What do you find here? Article 4, Section 4. I think, let me see, wait a minute. Article 4, Section 4. What do we find? Let me give it to you now. It says here, in the middle of it, it says, on application of the legislature, or of the executive when the legislature, against domestic violence. That's us. Domestic violence. You see it in there? On page 46, section 4? Page 46, the last part is section 4. See? You see what I'm saying now? Against domestic violence. That's us. See? All right? You got that. Let's go again. Number 3. Article 4, Section 2. Article 4, Section 2, Clause 3. Article 4 on page 45. You see Section 2? Clause what? 3. What? Read it, somebody.
No person held.
Wait a minute. Every word in the Constitution counts now. Commas count. There's no word in it that don't count. All right, now, it's a supreme law. N-O. Wait a minute. N-O. On page 45, Section 2, Article 4, Section 2, Clause 3. No person. N-O starts a paragraph off. Now look above that, you see a person above that, don't you? Now a person refers to white people. No person refers to black. Look at the word no. No means darkness forever. No means nothing. No person. A means 1 out of a million. Some means somebody. But no means nothing. Look at that. I mean, every word counts. No person held to service. You would think that, well, no person could be some whites too, but it don't mean that, does it? Because no person means something that has no choice. But a person means 1 out of 1,000, means he's recognized. Read on.
No person held to service or labor in one state under the laws thereof, escaping into another, shall, in consequence of any law or regulation therein, be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom such service or labor may be due.
See what I mean? In other words, no person held to service or labor. Held, H-E-L-D, is like a rabbit. A slave is held by this white man to work for the rest of his life, escaping somewhere else, and the man come in and say, I claim him, without even a contract. A claim is different from a contract, isn't it? It's what, I claim that. That's all he got to say, I claim it. Who's to dispute it? The slave can't dispute it. Just a mere claim he can capture you. Okay, so this is what they said. The Constitution said what? Again, that they could capture us and return us back. We owe service and labor. See, we got to get reparations happening. Look at that. Look at it. The Constitution said we was to wake. It's right there. That's the slave clause. So you got that one? Okay, let's move on. Now read the one above it, a person, somebody.
A person charged.
Now see here, wait a minute. A person. A means what? One out of many. It means he's recognized. You see what I'm trying to say? A no person don't mean nothing. Keep on.
A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime who shall flee from
Wait a minute. Flee from justice. Now here the slave did what? Escape. Escape means to do what? To come from, wait a minute. Flee means one thing and escape means another. Give us a situation in which you can escape and a situation in which you can flee. You're locked up and you're supposed to be there and you got out without permission. You escaped. You see, you ain't had no right. It's like a cat in a cage. You understand that? See, but the white man, he up here, a person, he just flee. Go ahead, read on, brother.
who shall flee from justice and be
From what? From justice. Justice. If you kill somebody, you're supposed to be charged and tried. That's justice. You're not supposed to flee from justice. If you owe a debt, you're supposed to pay it and you skip, you fleeing from justice. You're supposed to vote or take care of the county or whatever, you flee from justice. Okay, go ahead.
and be found in another state shall on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled be delivered up to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime.
See, the white man got a crime he can commit. The slave, what? Just escape from labor. See, they got both of you in there now. You see what I'm trying to say? Look at both of that. See what I mean? Okay, now read that. Read Article 4, Section 2. Now, wait a minute now. Just now we go back to the 14th Amendment while we're still here on this when we get to the tax thing. Let's go back here to page 53 again. Somebody read Article 14, Section 1 again. Quickly. You got a Constitution, brother? Somebody get his brother a Constitution. Everybody has a Constitution, I hope. All right, on page 53, Article 14, Section 1. Please, right quickly, somebody.
Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude.
No. Read down below that.
Section 2.
Yeah, Section 1, down, Article 14, the one at the bottom. Everybody, give me your attention, please.
All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States.
Stop right there. Citizens of the United States. That's black folks are citizens of the United States. That's us. Now turn back over here on page 45 and somebody read Article 4, Section 2, Clause 1. See what white folks are citizens of.
The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and
Immunities.
of citizens in the
Several.
several states.
So white folks are citizens of the states.
Yes, they are.
And we're citizens of the United States. That's two distinctions right there. See, this was drawn up when we were slaves. The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens of the several states. Over here, we're citizens of the United States. You see them two differences there? They're just as plain as you can be. That's just like out in California, they had the Rodney King trial, but them officers beat him up. In a state court, didn't they? They let him go, didn't they? Those two policemen went, remember, they let him go. That was in a state court. Because those two police officers were citizens of the state of California. Rodney King is a citizen of the United States. You see? And they couldn't convict, you can't convict no white man in the state court by killing a slave. They just pretend that till you start raising up hell. Then they got to fool you again, so they took him where? To federal court in the United States. Under the civil rights law that Rodney King is under. You cannot convict a white man for killing a black man if he's your slave. How are you going to convict him? You didn't make the law, he made the law. It's against the law to convict a white man for killing a black man in the United States.
Right.
And it never has happened. But they won't tell you the law. They just pretend like it's racism. It's slavery. No, let's not get racism mixed up with slavery. See? All right? And war. All right. So you see white people here, as we have here on Article 4, as we said, are citizens of the state. We got that now? They are state citizens. Now, and blacks are federal citizens. Just like down in Arkansas, when they want those kids to go to school, they had to send the federal troops in there because they are federal citizens. Georgia, they did the same thing. Always sending in troops and always getting civil rights laws. Never a state law. You know, Governor Wallace said state rights. Now, he was right. Why didn't everybody? But they're so tricky. They no. See, what happened, Wallace was over the bound because they was pressing him. So he just violated the rules and said, no, states' rights. Well, how can they keep us fooling if he's going to tell the truth? He's the one that was telling the truth. Governor Wallace is the one that was right. But how you going to fool the slaves? You see what I'm trying to say? So they said Governor Wallace is wrong and sent troops here to enforce what? A federal law. See how they do that now? Tricky. See, okay, now let's get on now. So we got these two citizenships here. And this is plain as you know. Let's see, that's how many that? We got 3 slave clauses so far. Let's go to another one. Article 4, Section 2. Yeah. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15. Article 1, Section 8. Article 1, Section 8. Section 8 is on page 37 at the top. Now, to get to Clause 17, you got to count each one of them little old things there. Each one of them's a clause. Till you come to Clause, what did I say? Clause 15. Article 8, Clause 15. Somebody find it and read it. Well, let me read it. On page 38, I guess it's on page, yeah. Up to the top, which one is it? To provide, read it somebody, for calling forth the militia to execute the law of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasion. That's a slave, see? That's another slave clause. Slave insurrection, you see? All right, another slave clause. Okay, let's move on. Next one is Article 5, the last part of Article 5. I think it starts with provided. Let me see what it says. Now it says, provided that no amendment, you see it? On the page 46. About 8 lines from the bottom, it says, provided that no amendment. Huh? Now watch this. Provided that no amendment which may be made prior to 1808 shall in any manner affect the slave clauses. In other words, they're saying to Congress again, you cannot get rid of slavery. At the bottom of page 46, where it starts, provided that no amendment which may be made. You see what I mean? In other words, they're saying to Congress, you cannot get rid of slavery. You can't even amend the Constitution to get rid of it. Now, who told them that again? White folks. So white folks are responsible for slavery as a people, as a total people. Well, let's go to another slave clause right quick now. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4. Section 9 is on page 38. Clause 4 is on page 39. What it says? No capitation. You see it? Somebody read it. Up top.
No capitation or other direct tax shall be laid unless in proportion to the census or enumeration herein before directed to be taken.
So we're coming down to our tax thing. Okay. In other words, you have to, every 10 years, they take a census, don't they?
That's right. Yes, they do, sir.
And that census says some states get more representatives in Congress than others. That's what you call apportionment. And then they can tax you based on that. But they never do it for taxes. They only do it for senators. get the House of Representatives. So they're saying here that you cannot tax unless you what? Take this apportionment, you see? Because the apportionment had to do with how much the slave master going to pay on his slave for taxes. That's what it's about, the slave clause. You see what I mean? They want to be sure that Congress didn't what? Raise them taxes over $10. You follow what I mean? Okay, let's go again. Here's the biggest one of all in the Constitution. Let me get it. Turn to page 32. Section 2, Clause 3. I'll read it for you. Representatives and direct taxes. That's in the beginning of the Constitution, isn't it? All right, the closest thing to the white man's heart was his money and who won't represent the government. That's representatives and direct taxes. He said how they shall be collected. And he wasn't saying a 1040 form neither. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states. Apportionment means to take a census every 10 years and see whether your state lost some people or gained some people. Is that right? If you lost some people, you lose representation in Congress. Now, taxes are supposed to be what? By the same method. So nobody white owes any direct taxes on a 1040 form. And if any white man is paying it because he don't know any better. See? All right, now I come to that when I come to you. Now, read on further. Somebody read on. Several states, which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers. You see that now? Respective means what? Some particular, different from other numbers. Respective numbers, which shall be determined by what? Adding to the whole number of free persons. Say a whole number, say you want a dozen. A whole number is 12, isn't it? To get, a dozen got to be 12 or something to be a whole number 1 dozen. It's not but 1, but it's got to be 12 to make up that 1 dozen. So now we got what? We're adding to the whole number. The whole number is who? 2. Free people consist of what? 2 people. First, free persons, including those bound to serve for, who's those bound to serve for a term of years? Who? Indentured servants. Indentured servants are free people. You see them there? You got free white people, then you got what? By adding to the whole number of free persons, including who? Those bound to service for a term of years. Indentured servants were free people. Because after 5 years, or whatever it was, they what? Could own slaves too. You see? Okay. So we got, how many people we got here to make up this government when it started? You had the free persons, you had the indentured service, didn't you? Then you got, and excluding who? But if an Indian had his tax receipt, he was part of the government. See? If he was on a reservation and wasn't taxed, well, he wasn't part of it. That's all. He'd go to town, had a receipt, he'd get all the rights of anybody else. And who is this 3/5 of all other people? Sound like us. So you got 4 people here in this particular clause that made up the government. Now, where I didn't see no Mexicans in here. I didn't see no minorities in here. I didn't see no women's movement in here. So why are you associated with anybody except slaves? They wasn't here for 300 years to do the work. How can somebody come and say, we in it together? There's nobody in slavery but you. So leave the white woman alone. It's a women's movement. Leave the homosexual woman alone, and the lesbian movement alone. Leave the poor Mexican movement alone, the Gentile movement alone, and leave the Asian movement alone. Just leave all of them alone. Just don't fool with any of them. This tells you right here that who made up this government. The Indian that paid taxes, the indentured servant that was free, and the white man that was already free, and the slave. Now, why are you associating with anybody else? They didn't help you for 40 years of slave labor. Nobody can help a slave but a slave. And nobody comes to America but to get the American dream. And the American dream is you, because you got the money. You looking for the dream you already the dream. And everybody wants a part of your dream. You understand that now? You the dream. The Koreans come in to get your dream in your community, don't they? The Asians come in to get this American dream looking right at you in the stores.
That's right.
Like the Koreans say, my goodness, they spend their money with me.
That's right.
They couldn't imagine a man, they just can't imagine you having children, a community, got to make a living, and you giving your money to them to send their kids to school. They just can't understand why you do that. They don't know what to say about it. They just buzzer them. They say, what? They spend their money with me. They buy from me. They want to wait for me. The people just don't understand that. They don't understand why you giving them their money and your kids need it. They don't know what to say about that. It's been got all over the world. You got a bunch of fools who just go to their community and make some money. See? See? You understand what I'm saying? They can't understand that. It's like I was in the army there in Japan, and we went inland when the war was right over. And we went, to follow up what I was saying, and so we went to a little small outland village. You know, when the Japanese were first defeated, it wasn't so bad. They was still all right, because the Japanese woman runs the Japanese culture. She takes care of that business at home, you see. And so we went to some of the inland Japanese, you know, that wasn't in the cities. So this brother there, he was the darkest in the group. He had his nice white shoes on. He started bowing down to him, especially so. And of course, you know, he called them bad names. You see what I mean? Because black represent what? God to the Japanese. He didn't know it. Nobody else seemed to know it. Cursed him out for doing it. You see what I'm trying to say now? This is the same with everything else we do, you see. And it's a bad thing, but what can you do if you don't know? If you don't know it, don't excuse you, does it? You're still going to get burned. Yeah, you're still going to get burned. So that's just one of the things that I wanted to bring that out to you. So we've covered just about the whole Constitution here on slave clauses. You see what I'm trying to say? Differences in slavery, differences in taxes and whatnot. See? I have a book here with a lot of it in here that you can get after this over if you want to buy it. But anyway, let's move on here to what I have to offer here tonight about taxation. You want to pass out some more over here? Now, we get into the tax part here, where you can see what you want to do about it. I hope it shook you up enough to make you want to do something. Okay, pass those out. Got it? Everybody got one? Yeah, no, I'll just have some extra ones. All right, now. Okay, now give me your attention. Now, please, everybody here, please take the paper just passed out and turn to page 12, starting at line 9. Take your time and to yourself read from line 9 to line 20. Now, if you turn to the first page, you'll see that Robert Brock and Albert Barnett, a man from Oklahoma City, we filed this in the Supreme Court of the United States on January the 12th. What we are saying here, and I want everybody to listen because this involves you now. I've given you some background on the Constitution. I've given you some background on your particular status here. And now we're going to apply this to taxes. On page 2, line 7, it's stated that the United States, on line 7 it states, quote, the government hereby waives its right to file a response to the petition in this case unless requested to do so by the court, dated January the 4th, 1994. In other words, the United States government is supposed to answer what we said about taxes. We said, where's the contract that made us a part of the government, so we're obligated to pay taxes? That's all we asked. Are you saying what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the United States government says they waive that right. We don't want to answer that unless the court make us answer it. You see what I'm trying to say? Hide behind the court. All we want is where's the contract that blacks are part of the government. Everybody else is a part of the government. Now you go to the defense plants where they have security, clearance, don't they? All right. You look in a white man's security files. In there, they follow him all the way back to his birth certificate, his mother's birth certificate, until they can find out when they come into the country. You go and look at a black man's file, all they got in there for him is a birth certificate. No citizenship papers at all. That's nothing but a birth certificate.
That's right.
A dog's got a birth certificate.
That's right.
Pedigree dog's got a birth certificate.
Come on, Steve.
You understand that? But where are the papers that's based on your choice?
Come on.
They are not in any black man's file or woman's file that has security clearance working on top-notch security.
Right.
All you'll find is your birth certificate back to slavery. You won't find any citizenship papers in there at all from your mother and father showing that you was born free or born a citizen from a person that was a citizen. And look at how cruel that is. You see what I'm trying to say? You won't find it. Go look at your security file. Social Security file. Any of them. You see what I mean? You know, when they was giving out Social Security some years ago, and the part of the Social Security Act was for the administrators to look at the person and guess how old he was, because blacks didn't have no what? Birth certificates in slavery. They didn't say why they did that. You're not supposed to look at a person and guess his age. Well, blacks wanted to collect Social Security. He said, well, I don't have no birth certificate. And for the man would give himself away, he just guessed his age and paid it. You see what I'm trying to say now? Yes. Because a slave had no birth certificate at one time neither. Look how cruel this is. You see what I'm trying to say? Yes, all right. So, going back again, so all we ask the United States government is to prove where's a contract that made us a part of the government to pay taxes. That's all we said. That's all we said was that. Where's the contract? And we find that white folks have contracts, don't they? They all go before the judge and get sworn in and the contract. It's where you was born here, where dogs and cats are born here. You see what I'm trying to say? Birth don't confer citizenship without your what? Right and choice to be so. It has to come. Birth can't make you a citizen. Your choice that your birth can make you a citizen. You have to say your birth made you a citizen, not birth itself. That's a natural act. You see? You can't use a natural act that you didn't cause to make you a citizen. You see? So blacks don't have that. That's all we ask the government to prove. The United States says what? We don't have to, we waive our right to file a response unless requested to do so by the court. You see what I'm trying to say? Therefore, we said here, but you just read on page what? 12, that unless they respond, We're not going to pay taxes unless you see, you in a, listen careful now. You in a position now, whenever you see blacks on TV or speaking somewhere, and the white man says, you going to use violence? You just say that, don't you? You going to obey the law? Now, you in the same position now as asking him the same thing. See, this puts you in the same position. You mean to tell me you're going to come trying to take these taxes outside the law? You see here where you would fail to answer the thing. Can't you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yes, sir.
You got him in the same position. Now, he can't answer. You got him whipped just by filing it. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Because you said, well, where's my paper? You asking, where's my paper? Yeah, where's my paper to make me a part of the government? All I found is what? 7 or 8 slave clauses. That made me a slave. Now, where are the ones that said that I took our citizenship through my slave parents? You see what I'm trying to say? You want that paper. You want that. Otherwise, you're not going to pay no taxes. And then you're going, are you going to violate the law? Are you going to be violent? You mean you're going to come out and try to put me in jail because I don't pay taxes? Where's the law? I tell them you're a law-abiding. You want to see the law. You can do it to him now. It took a few years for us to dig this out. But you on the other side of the fence and can fight him.
So you're saying each one of us can file this?
No, I got the filing papers right here. I'm just building it.
We just sign up?
Well, I'll come to that later, but I want you to be thorough on this. You see, blacks say, well, what are we going to do about it? Well, we're giving you something to do about it. See? Based on the law. We're not here based on violating the law. You understand what I'm saying? If he wants to collect taxes, where is the law? If you want to collect taxes, you tax it in violation of the law. You got the first time, for you can say that now. But you got to stand on it. Not as one or two, but by groups. You see what I'm trying to say? Now, I'm in Detroit with this, and St. Louis with this, and we got to get thousands and thousands of them to make this known where it's public. You got to make it public. It's got to be public. You have to stand on it. You got to go down to the courthouse peacefully, or the tax office peacefully. You got to, just this alone, just knowledge of it is power. Talking about each other's power. You ain't got to shoot nobody, just knowledge of this here. And if you come to fool with me, you'll violate my rights and I'll kill you. That's the end result.
Right on. That's it. All right.
Now, you understand what I'm saying? And you've got to do it that way. The law is on your side for a change. Where is the law you're going to ask the man that requires you to pay United States taxes? If there's a law, I'll obey the law. Well, he don't have it, though. You see what I mean? See, but you tell him you'll obey the law because you're law-abiding. See? You understand? All you want him to show you the law. But I see here, Mr. That the United States government waived their rights. See? All right? Now let's go a little further into this. Let's go a little farther into this. Now I've shown you was in the Constitution as slaves. So if you look on page 4, paragraph 4 at the top, I use several treaties on line 4, line 6, see, and line 8. I didn't use the Constitution at all. Of course, it's not binding on me. You understand that now? My slave grandparents, well, let me tell you about our slave grandparents. Why it couldn't be binding on us. Now, watch this here about the black family and all of that. During chattel slavery, when slavery was over, they don't tell you that over 2.5 million slaves died during the Civil War. Starved to death, some of them. master come along, dig a hole, says, I didn't keep you here 400 years to be free, and put them all in there alive and bury them alive. A lot of plantations. They're around, holes in there, we'll dig them up someday. You see what I'm trying to say? All right, now let's go to it again. What else happened is the Northern Army couldn't free the slave because what? The Constitution said they could have slaves, didn't it? That's why, you see what I'm trying to say? And some Northern soldiers killed some slaves. Southern Army killed some slaves. They owned them. You see? So this here, the Northern Wonder Wall, Glory, and all them lies, they're all slave masters. They're all white people. They're all owners. You see, a good white man and a bad white man just can't work when it comes to slavery. A slave owner is a slave owner. If he's a good slave owner, bad, he's still a slave owner. It can't be nobody good that's having you in slavery, can it? He's got to be your enemy. All right, now, so what I'm saying is they buried a lot of them alive, killed them. See? Because the slave is running around, the man is in the army, his wife is there trying to get in the slave, they just killed them. What else could they do but kill them? You understand what happened to you? When chattel slavery was over, they said 4.5 million slaves was around. Now, did they ever tell you about almost 1 million of them were little children without a mother and a father? Now, what? That's why we hear about the black family. Where it come from? Let's see where it come from. That's 4.5 million slaves. About 1 million of them were little young children, teenagers down to 1 year old, 1 day old, 1 month old, and 1 year old. Had been bred in slavery, sold, owned by the white man and white woman. Wake up. Them slaves, who owned that little 1 year old slave? Nobody. Who's responsible for feeding him? He starved to death. They don't tell you that, do they? They starved to death. 2.5 million of them died. The war was going on. It wasn't raising any pigs or corn or cattle or hogs. What was they going to eat? It's part of black history instead of them great kings of Africa. You understand? All right, they starved to death. We got to bring that one out. All right, now, so, but here's what else happened. These little 1 year old and 2 years old, nobody responsible for them. They had no mother, and they had no father. You understand what I'm saying? And who was responsible for feeding them? Nobody. We didn't get 40 acres, we didn't get a mule, we didn't get a penny. Right. The United States government, you demand reparation here. Yes, or burn the damn town down. You got it coming. Right. Nobody owned them. Now, let's go a little further about the black family. So what do we have here? We have the 1.5 million of them running around, and then it got time for them. Who's going to take care of the little kids? Have you heard about Uncle and Auntie in the black race always? Now, Uncle and Auntie, I'll tell you how that happened. Let me just show you so you'll know. You have here 2 slaves getting together, jumping over the broom, you know, taking up. That's my woman and my man, that's all. No wife and husband, just man and woman. And here these little kids running around. You know, somebody had to take care of them. They took the little kids. You see what I mean? And then here's somebody else over here, an adult, became what? Uncle. That's where that uncle and auntie came from. Wasn't nobody married. Wasn't no families. Just a man and woman took up. They grabbed one of these little kids that was 1 day old, 1 year old, and that was their child. You understand that? Yes, sir. That's the black family. That's for real. Now, so as it went on, just like in my slave grandparents, I was searching up the history. My slave grandparent had a child, had a son, 2 years younger than him. Had another one 5 years younger than him. They was his children. That's the children running around. You see what I'm trying to say? Then they became Uncle and Auntie. Whoever else, you know what I mean. Y'all heard Uncle and Auntie from us? Yes, go back and see who your uncle and auntie was, but they didn't kin to you. Cousin so-and-so, uncle so-and-so. That's that 4.5 million got together. You see what I'm trying to say? That's the black family. That is how the black family got started. Isn't that something? Just run around like animals. No family, no mother. You ever see the black man always talking about my mother? All right, I heard 2 Jews talking about, black man's always talking about his mother. They knew what they was talking about. Nobody had a mother. Godly. So the black man, finally somebody was born. That's my mother. They could say my mother. Nobody had a mother at one time. Can you understand why black men always saying mother? It ain't got nothing to do with what they say he said it. Because he never had a mother. It was just a wench running around that's breeding animals. Now he's got a mother. So he cherished that because 4.5 million people, and nobody had no mother. So after the first generation was born in slavery, oh, I got a mother at last. Here the others ain't got no mother. They don't know who. Can you imagine 4.5 million people know who the mother is? So to have a mother meant something. And we say that today, my mother, don't we? Well, that's where it come from. It come from you having a real mother for a change. So we just keep the thing going. Do you understand that now? Yes, sir. All right. Uncle and auntie was what? That whole group that got together. All of us in here are slaves. You know, we take up with each other. And you the uncle and you the auntie, and tell the kids that, and everybody got an uncle and auntie, and everybody going on got a family. And that's what we're talking about when you hear that old uncle story, don't you? Everybody, the older folks used to be uncle and auntie, didn't they? Right. Uncle so-and-so and auntie so-and-so. That's who they were. Go back and see who kin. And nobody kin at all. How can they be kin when they was bred like animals? Now you got to get some reparations. You deserve reparations. That's right. And you got to fight for it. Yes, can you imagine all the white women and men around here just enjoying this wealth? Nice cars, nice home, all for your money? That's right. Look how nice they live. Right. Stock markets, beautiful home, right. All for your money. Right. You've got to do something about this. All right, nothing wrong with killing the slave master. Let's get on. Now, what do we have here? Now, what do we got here? Let's get on. Let's go to page, okay, let's go to, I showed you on page 4, lines 2 through lines 8, treaties. I didn't use the Constitution because we're not in there. It's part of it. Page 4, top of page 4. All right, now, let's go here to page, all right, there, page 8. At the bottom of, no, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Let's go to, wait a minute, go to page 8. On line 3, on page 8. The slave descendants are associated with the government of the United States as juristic artificial persons. Artificial persons. Juristic. Jury means law. By law, you are made a person because the law said so. You see what I'm trying to say? That's artificial. The law said you're a person. Well, how come that God nature didn't say you're a person? See, juristic artificial person through legislation and unilateral order in the following words. The 14th Amendment says on line 7, page 8, all persons born and natural in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction. Remember this, subject, on page 8 it says what? And subject to its jurisdiction, didn't it? We are subject to the law. A white man can make a law and break it, can't he? He's not subject to it. Why would I make a law and be subject to it too? If you didn't make it, you what? Subject to it. I made it for you, you got to obey it. So you're subject to the law. It says so in the 14th Amendment. I'm reading it to you here on page 8, the 14th Amendment, on line 7, all persons born and natural in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction. It means the United States. Now, this means for us only, the white folks, you couldn't be subject to the jurisdiction if you passed the 14th Amendment. We didn't pass the 14th Amendment making us citizens. White folks passed it. And so that's what made it, see? All right. Let's go here again. At the bottom of page 9. Line 27. The two-tier, which means two taxing structures, is seen when Congress, through the use of its powers on Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1. Let us go back to the Constitution and find Article 1, Section 8 on page 37. At the top of page 37, everybody got the Constitution, you'll see this. Section 8, the Congress, everybody got it? The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties and imports and excise. Now that's not direct taxes, that's just on property, you see what I mean? On businesses. What we are saying here, on the bottom of page 9, is that Congress uses same power to collect taxes on property to collect taxes on us. Now on the top of page 10, August the 27th on line 1, 1894, there's a white man called Pollock. You see him on line 3? Versus farmers. Pollock sued somebody and said that they was taxing him directly. And the United States Supreme Court says that there was what? A direct tax in violation of Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. We just read where they couldn't tax unless it was apportionment, didn't we? Huh? Yeah, right. Well, then they said it violated the law. So then how can the 1040 is direct taxation? You see what I mean? The 1040 form is direct taxation. You can only get direct taxation when you have apportionment. So how can they collect direct taxes? You see what I'm trying to say? You see? Now the white folks that know better don't pay that 1040 taxes because they know that you can't directly tax a person unless you have a census. You see what I mean? But now, if you read on line 6, on September 8, 1916, Congress adopted another federal income tax. And it says this, reading, from all sources by every individual. Now, what's an individual? An individual is a Negro in the United States government. I'll show it to you what it means. By every individual. See, a white person has a name. He's not an individual. He's an individual related to something, though. See, but an individual standing alone means a Negro. Every individual, a citizen or resident of the United States. That's us again. See us in that? All right, let's go down further. Look on line 12 and 13. The individual, see what I mean again, on line 12, whose income is subject to tax was a citizen or resident of the United States. See? Now, for 99 years on line 21, we've been paying this tax ever since 1894. Go back to page 23. Go to page 23. Line 23 on page 10, line 23. And this same conclusion is made by Treasury regulation. Go look it up. 1.1-1 parenthesis C, which defines citizen of the United States. They tell you who the citizen of the United States is. To which the income tax laws applies as one who, subject to its jurisdiction. And that's us. Just as plain as it can be. Look it up. All right. All right, now, it also defines an individual in 39 statute 773. Okay, so what we have here is blacks are paying taxes, are being taxed as property directly because they are subject to the jurisdiction. Remember, you are subject to the law. The law is not subject to you. You can't make a law and break it. The white man can make a law and break it because he's not what? He made it. If you didn't make a law, somebody made it for you, didn't they? That's right. Well, then that means you got to obey it. All right? Okay, so that's where I come from on the taxation. So that's why we're back now to line to page 12. Now, at the bottom of page 12, line 28. These are the two rules that the white man has to overcome. Quote, that in view and according to the true status of, next page, petitioners, that's black folks, and the approximately 49 million slave descendants of African national origin ancestor in place. You see the word place? I got it underlined. Let me stop again. All right, now, when the slave was on the boat, he was in a place, wasn't he? That wasn't his home, was it? That wasn't his residence, was it? That was a place. You heard this? You heard the term "nigga stay in your place"? Well, let me go and find it for you. I'm gonna see what you're talking about. Now, that was a place. Next, they put him on a slave block. That was a place, wasn't it? They took him off the slave block and put him in the plantation. That was a place, wasn't it? Well, his house or residence, wasn't it? A domicile, just a place. He hung out on the corner. That's his place, isn't it? So, nigga stay in your place is correct. That's all you ever had was a place. But the white man make it sound like he's being derogatory to you, so you won't learn the real thing. Now, let me show you what that means when I say place. A slave cannot have an address, can he?
No, sir.
He can only be where somebody places him. Right. You place here, you place there, so you have what? A place. You understand? A resident or a domicile means I took out an address, a voting district, taxing district, judicial district, and a house. I'm domiciled here. That's where I live. I use the laws of this county. That's my what? Domicile and resident. A slave never had that. He went from plantation to plantation as they placed him. Right. So nigga, stay in your place, fits you. When the white man said, what you doing on this side of town? You don't belong in this place. But we never put you out here with us. Go back to your place. That's what we're talking about. See? You understand that now? See? From now on, when you hear them talking like this, just know what they're talking about. They're trying to get you to think something else. You do have a place. You can't be a slave unless you have a place. Slaves don't have nothing but somebody tell them what to do. If you think other than that, then you're fooling yourself. All right, now, so going back to this last page again, in place and resident in the territory of the United States, as per their contract of citizenship. Well, where's your contract of citizenship? All right. When there's a disclaimer of citizenship, no indictment can lie in absent proof of crime. Anyway, then you got Rule 2 there. So this is what he has to overcome. He has not overcome it. So now we can get on with what we're talking about here. The more that I can get to sign and do, the merrier. What I have here is, if you're ready to come forward with this here, it's a difficult thing to do. And it's not so difficult. Now, everybody can't sign. If you got super clearance in here, I know you can't sign it. But you can tell us what they're doing down there sometime and snitch on them. Anyway, as I was saying, what we have here, and I'm going to pass it around, brother minister. I'm going to pass this around. Everybody can get one of these here and listen. If you don't sign it or fill it out, pass it back in. Okay? This is only for you to read. Just count them out, and everybody gets one and look at it. Okay? And if you don't want to fill it out, pass it back in. Don't take it home to study it. Take it to old Negro lawyer, the white man, and the public accountant, the tax man. It's up to you. You see? If you don't want to fill it out or don't want to deal with it, then leave it here. Go and get somebody else. Now, just don't take it to nobody else but you. Ain't nobody going to jail if it happened but you. Now take your time and look at that and read it for yourself or read it with somebody. It's to the extent of your knowledge. This ain't a man and woman thing. This is a person, individual thing, a slave thing. Take your time and look at it. Each individual here gets one and look at it. Now remember this, the white man didn't capture you as a family. He didn't capture you as a man and wife. He captured you as a slave. That's the only way I'm presenting this to you tonight as a slave. So now let's not get hung up on those sex objects in here. Everybody got one? You got one, brother? Huh? Hey, everybody pass out one. This brother over here don't have one. Y'all got one? Anybody here don't have one? Now, everybody take the time and look at it. Take as much time as you need to read that. As one person to another person. You see what I mean? As an individual slave descendant. See? Now take your time and read that. The person's name you see in there is called Leonard Ashton. He's a brother that's filed the case. Everybody in here, I hope has one looking at it. There's no exception to slaves.
Was there anyone else in the room?
Huh? What do you say? Oh, yeah. A slave is a slave. Don't care how much education you get.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Okay. Now,
When you sign it, are you to sign at the top and the bottom?
wait, let me go over and mention that. Good. Let me show you something here now. All right, let's all of us listen together so we can go to jail together, get free together, okay? Now, that's the only way it is going to be here. Now, one person signing this here is in danger. 10,000 signing is better. I don't want one signature. It don't do any good. Not even 10 signatures will do any good. You see what I mean? Numbers here is what counts. Standing together. Now, up to the top here it says, I, whatever your name is, having at no time been domiciled. I just told you you only had a place, didn't I? You have never been domiciled. When anybody go to take out citizenship, when the judge swear them in to be a citizen, the first thing he tells them if they agree, he says, now go get you a domicile. He's telling them to go what? Establish a resident, establish a domicile. That's the first thing he must do after he becomes a citizen. He already had a resident before he went there. But a domicile means what? I'm going to register to vote, pay taxes, see what court I try people in, or what court I go to, what county I live in, what state I live in. That's a domicile. Blacks have never had that. No black has a domicile. All you have is a place and a resident. You see what I'm trying to say? Never had a domicile. How could you be brought out of slavery when you was in a place on the plantation? You was in that place on the plantation. And the man just left you out there on the place, and you the one went and found some place to live. You never took out citizenship. Where's your citizenship papers? You don't have a domicile. All you have is a place, like any other animal, okay? I haven't at no time been domiciled in a legal resident. Legal. It can only be legal if you under the Constitution. Legal resident. Under Article 4, Section 2, we just said state citizenship, didn't we? You don't have state citizenship, you have United States citizenship. Therefore, I am only a resident of the state of, you see what I mean? California. Under the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Now that's what all it really should be, is you just put, that's really your address and where you live. That's the real true state of affairs. However, down to the bottom where you see 178, a little space over there, we don't know just how to do this here. The true thing is the way it's fixed up now. That address thing helps us to locate you and help him to locate you too. Let's see how we're going to do this. Now, the true thing is the way we got it up there. You don't have to put down your address. Let's do it the way slaves do the thing. You see what I mean? You don't have a domicile. If you don't have a domicile, you don't have an address. For real. And you want them to know that you know it as well. He said, well, where's your address? Well, I don't have a domicile. Because where's my citizenship? You ask him that. Yeah, let's do it the way the law is. So all you put up here is I and print your name of the state of California. Sign it down here, and that's enough. That way you're doing it the way a slave should do it. You see? Because he didn't know that you're there, you see? You see what I'm trying to say? Because you don't have any identification in this government. Everything you have to identify, you come from him.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You don't have anything to identify you that you identify with. You didn't bring anything from Africa. Everything you got to identify you is him. Everything. Every one of your identifications. So you got to show that on here, that you don't have anything. Let him say you have it. See? Okay, now, so that's what we'll do it just like this. That you only have what? You never have been domiciled, so you don't have an address. Let me show you how an address works. When you're domiciled. When you address a letter, your name it's your name. Underneath your name would be, what county is this? Los Angeles County? Underneath your name would be Los Angeles County Judicial District. It tells where the law is at what? And in which you're to be tried if you commit a crime or if you got some rights coming. And your judicial district will determine what law you governs you. That's the second part. If you got a domicile, that would be it. Third would be the street, then fourth would be republic. The California State Republic, not a state, it's a republic. See, that's a domicile, see? Okay, you got that? You ever go out to these farmlands and you see some of these farmers got land all the way up to the middle of the street almost, there ain't been no sidewalk on it? That's what you come out of real citizens, see? They don't have to pay no tax to nobody because they domicile, you see? Now, so let's leave it like it is. The more the merrier, and we're not, even though you sign, we're not going to turn them in until we get at least 10,000. See, because one or two people just don't have any weight, do they? We need more. If I come here to speak again, we got to have as many people here or more, and they got to be different. Because it don't look good having the same people sign over and over. Are you following, see what I'm trying to say now? Yes, now, how can we do that to make it wait before anybody signs it? You see what I'm trying to say? If we can't get a plan of mass people refusing based on the law. Now, some people that owes taxes, they should pay their taxes. Otherwise, they're going to jail. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you shouldn't have been taxed in the first place. That's what we're talking about. It's a difference there. We're not telling nobody not to pay taxes that they legitimately owe. We're saying that you're not supposed to pay them in the first place. That's what you're refusing to do, based on the law. It's a difference there. All right, any questions about this piece of paper here now? How do you think we can get enough people to make it worthwhile to even sign it? You see what I'm trying to say?
How many people?
Well, I figure,
I know you need quite a few.
well, I say, let's start with 1,000 up. 1,000 up.
1,000 and up.
From starting no less than 1,000 up. En masse that would assemble in front of the courthouse, in front of the tax house, or in front of any house. You see, you got to have some show. Not with a gun or anything, just to show that you understand it. Then if anybody fool with you, then comes what? The gun. You see how they think, wait a minute, you understand that now? You don't go out here with no gun to enforce this. You only use your gun to defend yourself from him using force. It's a big difference there. He always got you what? Well, he uses his gun to get you for violating the law. Let me see if you can understand. It's all, wait a minute, no law is without force and power. But what makes it look like it's easy for him to enforce is because he's always got you what? Violating it. See? Right. Now, this is the first time where when you don't pay taxes en masse and he come to you, he's what? Violating it. Now it's your time to get the gun. That's what we're talking about. Only under them conditions. Then it's not force or violence. You see, it's your first time of doing this. Is there any question about this before we go any further? Yes, miss.
So on April 1st, 1995, is that?
Yeah, 94 is a little too early. Yeah, we couldn't get enough of it.
95?
Yeah, we should have enough people by then to do something with this. Well, we got 400 or 500 up there in Michigan. I'm going back on the 9th again. And we spent a couple of more churches. See, it's not too easy to get people, you know. It's not too easy with this thing. It's here, standing up thing is kind of bad. It's hard to, blacks always, what you going to do? Well, here's something you can do. Here's something you can do, but you got to do it as a group. See? Let me give you something about fear. Remember we was here, may I have your attention, we was talking about the condition of slavery. Remember I gave you 4 or 5 kinds of slavery? And one of them was automatic slavery based on 400 years of fear and whatnot, wasn't it? Mental slavery. Let's take this one for instance. Slavery got so scientific until the white man got tired of watching the slave, he had to do something. There's several ways he did this, but this is one way. He would take remember, all this came through the woman, not through the man. All the man could do is work and give babies, that's all. But the woman had to put up with the children and put up with the white man and all that mess other stuff. Now what happened is when the black woman had the baby, no, when she was pregnant, I think she was pregnant 3 months. They take her at night and tie her up, you know. Well, when she got out the cotton field, they tie her up while she was 3 months pregnant until nothing was touching the ground, you know, tiptoe like, you know, just the top of her toes touching the ground. She was in a strain. And they would get 2 old slaves all night long, boy slaves, and a slave is a boy, put her legs open, and he'd stick a little sharp instrument up between the leg. And what happens to that child in her belly? She tightens up on it, don't she? She transmits fear to that child, don't she? Right. Anxiety to that child. Is that right? Yes, sir. All right, then after the child is born, she don't know that she transmitting fear because the child is sold on the river and he got fear in him and he don't know it. And the black man has got fear in him today and don't even know where it come from. And don't nobody know where it come from. But that's where it come from. Scientific process of sticking a little sharp pin on her vagina and she pregnant with a child. Ah! What she do to that child? Woo, that's tough. Look what she put in that child every time he stick her every night till the child is born. Huh? You understand? Look at that transmission of fear, anxiety into that child, unborn child. You see what I mean? That's one way. So that fear is in the black man today. You see what I'm trying to say? That fear is in him today.